Okay.
Hi, family. My name is Olis, and I'm a grateful, grateful, grateful member of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I am thrilled to be with you guys this evening. Um, Jeffrey, thank you so much for the invitation. We didn't get to spend enough time in Boston. Um, I want to thank you and probably in her absence, Leslie, for creating this space and holding this space. And I got like a lot going on, and so I forgot to come like super early and dance, but I got a little bit in. And for all of you who joined me in dancing, thank you. Because like we should have a good time. We not a glum lot. We should have a good time. I want to also to Caleb with 89 days, baby. My talk's going to mostly be to you and anybody else who's really, really new. Um, and even if you didn't put your hand up, I promise that I'm thinking of you because in Alcoholics Anonymous, we say that welcome home, that we've been waiting for you. And we mean that. Welcome home. Welcome to a new life. Thank you, Sarah, for reading, and just thank you guys for all being here. Thank you for spending Friday night with me, and let's get right to it. So I am celebrating because I'm a May baby, and I kind of wish I was an early May baby, but I'm a late May baby, and I don't do fronts. So I don't get to say it's my anniversary until the 21st, May 21st, 1987, class of 87. I celebrated 37 years of continuous sobriety. It's just mind blowing to me because when I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, people who had 10 years, I thought they were liars. It's not even possible. You're a liar. But it's just true. It's true. 37 continuous years. And there are some of you on this platform, I can see y'all, who not even 37 years old. I know. It's just stunning to me. It's stunning to me. But what I want to talk about tonight is love, right? That's appropriate. It's higher love. And I want to talk about love in relationship to the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, obviously, right? And I'm going to like do some little factoid stuff. I'm going to talk about where I'm at. I'm going to contextualize it, and hopefully I'll say something that's useful to somebody. Between the 12 and 12 in the big book, the word love appears 58 times. I looked that up. Google it. 164 and more has all the information. I think they're right too. 58 times. It appears 23 times in the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, mostly in the later chapters, to wives, the family after that makes sense, and 35 times in the 12 and 12. And I just gave it a quick scan. And the part that struck me, and I really do want to talk about love. And let me contextualize my talk. Miss Ella Pearl, I called her. She's in DC, and I told her I was coming in. We got together and went to some meetings. And man, she's just a sweet soul. And she invited me to a meeting, and it was hybrid. And so we're there in the church basement, but on a really big screen, you can see everybody's Hollywood squares. And somebody's avatar said, "It's not them." The entire program of Alcoholics Anonymous could be summed up in that. It's not them. It's not them. It's not them. I'm going to make that make sense, but it's not them. And when I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, everything else was somebody else. I was sexually molested. My mother abused me. Nobody wanted. My friends, my husband cheated. My job. I mean, man. But the truth is that the spiritual freedom and joy that is available through the practice of the principles in Alcoholics Anonymous, which are spiritual. This is not a stop drinking program for me. This is a spiritual program for me. My friend Alice out of Sac says that not drinking is the least interesting part of her recovery. That's right. If 37 years I was still talking about, oh boy, I didn't drink today. I mean, no, I didn't drink today. But what else did I do? If the most valuable resource that I have or will ever have is time, how did I use that? So let me loop it back to love. My quick scan indicates that the first time the word love appears is in Bill's story. And it's in Bill's malady. If you understand how to read the book, For anybody that's new, let me just get this out of the way. Here are the 5 things that will rocket you to another dimension, that will give you a life beyond your wildest dreams. 5 things. Get yourself a sobriety date and make it the most important thing in your life. Put it before all things, all people, all things. Protect it like it is the key to everything, because it is. 2, get yourself a guide, a spiritual guide that understands the precise directions to freedom that are outlined in the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, that can walk you to freedom. They're not God. They're going to walk you to freedom. They're going to walk you to the power that you believe in. We call those people sponsors. And I'm not really for, and if you do this and you got this, I promise I'm not coming for nobody. I'm barely making it myself. I'm not looking for friends in Alcoholics Anonymous. I mean, I'm happy to be friendly. You know what I mean? But that's not my thing. I'm sort of a hermit. What I'm looking for is awakening, deeper and deeper levels of awakening. Now, there's some people I want to be friends with. My friend Vera here, I want to be Vera friend. Vera, I'm coming to visit you in Massachusetts, right? But mostly I'm a hermit. And what I'm looking for in a sponsor and what I'm looking for in sponsees is an opportunity to deepen my understanding of the spiritual principles. Sure, how are you? How's your day? But really what I want to know is, are you practicing the principles so that I can learn from you and hopefully I can share something with you that I've learned. 3, get yourself a home group. Why is a home group important? Well, for lots of reasons, but quickly, what's miraculous isn't just that we're not drinking. That's miraculous. If you were drunk like me, I took my first drink at 4, I was drinking scotch by 8. By 11, I'm drinking regularly. By 13, I'm in the bars getting drunk. What? That's substantially before it's legal to drink, ma'am. But yeah, that's what I was doing. And by 26, when I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, I was surrendered. I'm 63. So you're not distracted by counting. But the truth is that I was looking for a sense of belonging and a sense of connection. And I need a home group to begin to have a sense of belonging and connection. But here's the other reason, the often not talked about reason. The other miracle is that we've not killed each other. The other miracle is we've not burnt Alcoholics Anonymous to the ground. And so this sense of belonging and the need to have a home group is also that you can do the things that need to be done to make sure that 12-step work is possible. You need a home group. It's through the home group that we give voice to the larger Alcoholics Anonymous about the direction. So if you don't like something that's happening at Alcoholics Anonymous, you don't have a home group, you're not voting, you're not showing up, you're not doing nothing, is what we should do. We're either part of the problem or part of the solution, but I've gone too far on why you need a home group. 4th thing, get yourself a group of friends. More time, same time, less time. More time, same time, less time. I want people with less time because they're probably suffering something that I'm no longer suffering, and I want to call them so they can remind me of that. Because the man with no shoes felt better after he talked to the man with no feet. Yeah. If you're past detox, call somebody that's detoxing. If you got 2 weeks, the person with day 0 thinks that it's a miracle. Call them. Call. I take drunk calls. I do. I don't stay on them long, but I will take it. Thank God I'm not there. Thank God. I have a woman that calls me regularly and she says things that she called today. I can't imagine that they're true, but it doesn't matter. She believes they're true. And I just hold space for her. Less time, just less time. More time. I need to call people with more time and say, this thing is happening. Is this right? Am I okay? How do I, you know what I mean? What am I going to, I'm going to a wedding. What am I going to do? The people are coming to my house. They're bringing wine. Call people with more time and ask. So a set of friends, trudging buddies. I still have a small handful of people that I'm in relationship with that were here when I got here or came at this about the same time. 6 months or a year or 2 years after 37 years, it's like about the same time. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. The final one is service. I got to Alcoholics Anonymous and I thought it was a stop drinking program. And then I stayed around for a while and I was like, oh, this is a Find God program. And then I was here for a while and I was like, wait a minute. I think this is to be of service to God and the people around me program. So get yourself a service position. And I pray for you that you mature beyond being the coffee maker. The coffee maker is a good job, though. That's a good job. But so that you mature into sponsoring people or being the grapevine representative or being a delegate, get all in. Get all in. All right, let's talk about love. So I think, quick scan, the first reference to love in the book may be in Bill's story. And what does he say? When I didn't know how to read the book, I didn't understand that he was in his spiritual malady. What do I mean by that? For those of you that know me, I'm sorry I have to say this. I'm just so sorry. I have a first step problem, and my first step problem has 3 parts. Y'all can say it with me at this point. 1, I'm bodily different than my fellows. I drink and I get thirsty. The other people don't do that. They want to drink, they have a drink, they're just as happy. They get a little jiggy with it and they move on. Not us. Not me. The more I get, the more I need. Because there's a physical reaction in my body that is abnormal. The second part of my first step problem is the voice in my head. People that know me know I love the chapter more about alcoholism because the voice in my head has not completely gone away. And that chapter tells me, it could be called the state of mind that precedes a relapse, right? It tells me the kinds of things that my mind is going to say. I haven't had a drink in a long time. I can safely drink. That's a lie. Here's my current favorite. The guy, Jim, that puts whiskey in milk, right? Jim does some of the work, but Jim wants all the benefits. The book says Jim made but a beginning. And sometimes I'm Jim. I want to do some of the work, but I want all the benefits. I would like to lay on the couch and visualize physical exercise and lose weight. I swear I do. I swear I do. I do. I want that. I do. I do. It just doesn't work that way. Right? My friend Ralph talks about how you didn't go to the bar and watch other people drink and watch them get drunk and think that was going to get you drunk. You didn't do that. So why are you in Alcoholics Anonymous watching other people do the steps thinking that's going to get you recovered? These are not the steps that we talked about and read. These are the steps we took. And I want to do some of the work and get all the benefit. That's Jim. Read Jim. Read Jim. Read Jim. Read Jim. But then there's the jaywalker. This is for somebody that, and I want you to hear me. I want you to hear me. I say it with all kind of love. My experience, personal experience, and experience sponsoring people is that if I don't stay on the path, if I don't make surrender my spiritual practice, it's not them, it's me. It's not them, it's me. It's not them, it's me. I will move from one substance to another, or I'll move from a substance to a process. Yeah. There was a time that I would decide I wanted something. I wanted some black suede, chunky heel, over the knee boots. And I found a pair. And I came home and I already had those boots. Right. Because really I did. Because when I'm doing what Bill's talking about when he talks about love the first time, applause, money, love, right? The No, he's at the people's house. His first drink is a Bronx cocktail. And he's like, "Oh my God, these people, I'm a new young officer and they took us into their homes and here was life and love at last." Right? And when I'm seeking validation outside of myself, with other people's approval, with high, over the knee, black suede, chunky heel boots, with sex, hear me, hear me, with Amazon boxes, hear me, I'm living in my malady. And that's never going to end well for me. It's never ended well for me. Here's one of the things I learned early in recovery. It took me a long time to understand it fully, but I was young, so here's what I thought it was. It's easy to get in relationships, but it's hard to get out. Yeah, that's true, but that's like the tip of the iceberg. The real thing about using romantic love or sexuality, pursuing sexual partners, and I ain't coming for you, is if I'm misusing my God-given sexual powers, there's a whole inventory for that, then what I'm doing is I'm being self-reliant. And the point of the path is to be God-reliant. And so that first mention of love in the book that Bill talks about is this seeking something outside himself. For people he goes on in the story, right? I didn't even know that he was in the malady, right? It took me years to figure he's in the malady. The first half of Bill's story is his descent into hell. And you know what? He says, I would prove to the world I was important. That's hell. Do you know the people who know they're important don't have nothing to prove? I don't cuss in meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous no more, especially if they're recorded. But let me say, I don't care what you think of me. I don't care what I think you think of me. I just brush it aside. More importantly, and somebody in Alcoholics Anonymous taught me, if you come up to me and tell me what you think of me, I don't care about that neither. Do you know why? Because me and God are good. And that's the freedom that we're talking about. So this love that I want outside of me, it's just fine, unless it's a substitute for the internal connection to the power. Unless it's a substitute for my possession of myself. See, if I'm not in possession of me, I'm already in trouble. And I can't be in possession of me if I'm drunk. Or if I got a stack of Amazon boxes, or if I'm trying to get with all the people, right? And it's not in the book, but one of the recommendations is don't get into a relationship for a year. I don't do that with people. But I'm like, well, don't you think you should know who you are before you decide who to be with? Let's just get through the steps. Let's just do that. And then go do what you want. Get it in. I got it in. I had a good time. And so I want to contrast that notion of love with the last reference that I think is in the book, in the first 164 pages, which is in A Vision for You. And I want to contrast, and it says, you will learn the full meaning of love thy neighbor as thyself. And there's so much in that sentence, right? And what a far reach that is from I need you outside me to validate me. Do you see the difference? That when I can love you like I love me, it requires certain things of me that I get in the step process. There it is, hidden between the third and the fourth columns on page 67 in the fourth step. We sometimes refer to it as the sick man prayer. Yeah. And the prayer isn't for the sick man. The prayer is for me. God, save me from being angry. God, show me how to be helpful. Now, if I'm mad at you, which is what the prayer is about, right? It says that I don't like the way that the people's symptoms affected me, but I have to admit that like me, they too are sick. So they're sick, I'm sick. Because remember, it's not them. They're sick, I'm sick. So if I use that as a practice, I do this thing called a realization. And I ask myself when I'm mad at you, have I ever done the thing that I'm mad about to you or someone else? See, because that's the actualization in some way of the sick man prayer. That I'm not theoretically saying, oh, like you, I'm sick. I'm asking myself, have I participated in the thing that I'm mad about? Not, it doesn't have to be linear. It doesn't have to be literal. It has to be the same spiritually. Have I robbed somebody of their sense of safety, of their notion of being wanted and appreciated? Have I lied? Have I cheated? Have I stole? Have I, right? Yeah, I did that. So while I'm up on the high horse, people who know me know I love a high horse. Love a high horse. I just love one. Brenda J sent me a picture of a little hobby horse, the little one in front of the supermarket. You put a quarter in. The young people don't remember that, but there used to be this little quarter machine. You get to the thing, you beg your parents, could you please have a quarter to get up on the horse like it was a real horse? That's the high horse I'd be up on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The one imaginary, you can imagine, like as a kid, it was an imaginary, like you think it's a real ride. Yeah, that's the horse I'd be on. And when I'm on that horse, self-righteousness. See, self manifests in many ways, and self keeps me from real love. Self keeps me from real love. Self-pity. Do you know that low self-esteem is still self? Let me just let that marinate. Low self-esteem is still self. There's some of us are doormats and some of us are bulldozers. You know what I mean? Maybe you stay long enough and you become something different. I don't know. I've just been a bulldozer the whole time, right? And so the bulldozers tend towards self-righteousness. The doormats tend towards self-pity. I don't really like self-pity. You know what I mean? Because I need the reminder it's not them, right? So I have a way of rearranging the truth in my mind because that's where the problem centers, right? To make it not my fault. I booked this woman to speak at the Bronx, and this is one of my favorites. She said she went to a party with some friends and she peed on herself at the party, and she blamed her friends because they knew she had a weak bladder and they took her too far from the bathroom. Is that not the best? Like, that is some high order blame other people. And I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. In terms of love, let me go back to this. One of the things that is beautiful about sponsoring other people. What is my favorite number of sponsees, folks? 0. It's 0. I want to sponsor 0 people. I'm brilliant sponsor at 0 people. I'm really good at 0. That's not the number God gives me, and so I do the number that God gives me. I don't like it. So if you're new, let me just relieve you of this. You don't have to want to, you just have to do it. The book says willingness, not wantingness. I don't have to want to. That's been my experience, right? I have to just do it. So one of the beautiful things about this practice of walking with people through the work over and over and over again, the best way to learn something is to teach it. The best way to learn something.
5 minutes, Olis.
Thank you. Is I saw this thing in the process. And at the end of the 4th column, in the resentment inventory, it asks us to look at what harm we've done. This is a trick, right? It's a spiritual trick. Bill didn't invent this, by the way. That you start with who you're mad at, right? A resentment, you're sore, you're angry, and you follow it all the way through, and then you can see your behavior. You can see your attitude. You can see the delusion. You can see, right, the fear, and then you can see the harm. And one of the most consistent, certainly in my life, things I see is that I want love and I want acceptance. I want belonging. And what do? I push it away. That I'm so afraid that you're going to reject me or hurt me or I'm not going to somehow be good enough that I cut off the possibility of real connection. I don't do it consciously, but when I look back over my behavior, when I look back over my life, when I support people and looking back over their lives, what I consistently find, which is so profound, is that it's not them. It's not the other people. I create the distance. I create the disconnect. I create it. I block myself from that. I want to just end by saying that in We Agnostics, I think it's in We Agnostics, it talks about this coming into the presence of infinite power and love, which is what I believe this path is about. Coming into the presence, coming into the consciousness, the ability to connect with, the ability to be with, to feel connected to infinite power and love. And the more I can do that, the less I need to be winking at you sideways. The less I need Amazon boxes, the less likely I'm going to come home with something I already own. That I cease to need the things outside myself. That there's this deep sense of sufficiency, not self-sufficiency, but a peace and a comfort that everything that is in this moment is perfect. You know, I'm in a hallway and I don't want to be in a hallway. But I called my sponsor complaining because, you know, that's what sponsors are for, right? And she told me I had to decorate the hall. And I was like, well, what the hell? What does that mean? And she's like, get you a new person, and you're not the only one in the hallway. And somebody in the hallway might be there the first time. Go help somebody. I don't want to do none of that. But, you know, some girl called me, talk about, yep, I could take you through. And I'm sharing that to end because no matter where you are, there's peace and joy and love right there. You are currently standing in all the blessings. Thank you guys for having me.